jamais la main. Je te lâcherai jamais la main.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes ya a la comunidad de la Facultad de Artes y Diseño. Gracias por asistir a este evento académico que en este caso nos ocupa hoy una charla por parte de el director de la maestría de foto artística de la Universidad Europea de Ciencias Aplicadas en Berlín. Este contacto y este evento lo coordina el maestro Santiago Ortega Hernández, que es maestro de grabado, y bueno, él nos hizo favor de hacer el contacto directamente con el maestro para poder hacer este evento. Nos va a acompañar en la mesa la maestra Julieta Barreiro. La maestra es académica de la Facultad de Filosofía y Letras y nos va a apoyar en la traducción en alemán. Y le queremos dar las gracias al maestro Andrej, muchas gracias, y al maestro Santiago Ortega por llevar a cabo este evento. Y bueno, pues los dejamos aquí en este conversatorio. Muchas gracias.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Bien, pues agradecer a las autoridades de nuestra Facultad de Artes y Diseño todas las facilidades para que académicos de gran prestigio puedan compartir sus experiencias de trabajo con académicos, con estudiantes pues, de esta facultad tan importante. Agradecer al doctor Mauricio de Jesús Juárez Servín, que es nuestro director, al doctor Óscar Ulises Verde Tapia, quien acaba de hacer la presentación, secretario general, a su equipo de trabajo, que es la licenciada Marisol Martínez Fernández, secretaria de Planeación y Vinculación, al doctor Horacio Castrejón, que es el coordinador de la licenciatura en Artes Visuales, a la maestra de Estudios Profesionales, a la maestra Johanna Blanco y a todos sus estudiantes que han trabajado todos estos días para que el evento pues, sea de provecho para la comunidad. Voy a hacer una síntesis de la trayectoria de nuestro invitado, Andrej Glusgold. Él nace en 1968 en Moldavia, que es la antigua URSS, en el seno de una familia de artistas. De hecho, su madre es pintora. En 1981 emigró con sus padres a una pequeña ciudad de Alemania y tras graduarse en la Universidad de las Artes de Bremen en 1996, realizó una estancia en París. También se trasladó a Berlín, donde comenzó su carrera como fotógrafo de retratos y moda para publicaciones internacionales. Desde hace un par de décadas se concentra en proyectos de arte personal. Ha participado en más de 50 exposiciones colectivas en Alemania, Austria, Francia, Estados Unidos, Siria, Holanda, China, Portugal, Suiza y Rusia. Cuenta con 9 exposiciones individuales en diversas ciudades en Alemania. Cuenta con 11 publicaciones de su obra artística. Desde 2011 es profesor de fotografía en la Universidad Europea de Ciencias Aplicadas de Berlín, donde él pues, es el director de la maestría en fotografía artística. Su trabajo pues, tiene una combinación de diferentes disciplinas que van desde la fotografía, el dibujo, el grabado, el collage, la poesía. Y su obra gira en torno a arquetipos culturales y espirituales, el chamanismo y un enfoque mágico de su obra. Quiero agradecer a la maestra Emma Julieta Barreiro, como ya lo señaló el doctor Ulises Verde. Ella es catedrática en la Facultad de Filosofía y Letras y también en nuestra Escuela de Lenguas. Así que ella se va a encargar de la traducción. Y pues bueno, ya le cedo la palabra a nuestro invitado. Muchas gracias, Andrej, por aceptar la invitación.
Muchas gracias. I'm going to speak in English, and Emma is going to translate. And if I speak too quick, or if you don't understand something, you can just raise your hand, and I can answer the questions.
Decidimos que va a hablar en inglés porque yo también traduzco del alemán y del francés, pero como todos llevan inglés, también para que les sirva de práctica y porque él allá en la universidad donde trabaja en Berlín, él da clases en inglés, o sea, todas las clases que da son en inglés y pensamos que era más fluido hacerlo de esa manera, ¿no? Ajá. Entonces, y bueno, les da las gracias a todos por el recibimiento y podemos empezar ahora, ¿no? Eso.
Yes, first I want to thank you for Santiago and for Emma
Bueno, y nos
for-
agradece a nosotros primero.
for
ajá.
making this possible, and also for the very warm and hospitable welcome I got here from the faculty.
Sí,
I
y
went
también,
to the studios and everybody was very
sí, también agradece el
hospitable.
recorrido que ahorita tuvo oportunidad de tener, ¿no? Y los profesores que ha conocido y te agradece mucho eso. Ajá.
You have also a very beautiful campus. So our campus much smaller, even it's in the center of Berlin, but we don't have such beautiful studios like you have.
Sí,
So
dice
maybe you
que,
don't know this, but it's really something
pero
special.
también para que ustedes lo aprecien, tienen un campus muy grande, un precioso campus que comparado, ellos están en el centro de Berlín y el espacio es más limitado. También hay que, de hecho en Berlín, conseguir espacios y si alguna vez tienen oportunidad de ir a hacer una estancia allá, súper difícil, ¿no? Entonces, pero que él está maravillado por el espacio que ustedes tienen. Ajá.
Okay, then I will start. Yeah. Okay.
Entonces vamos a empezar.
You already told a little bit about my
Sí.
biography, so I'm not going to repeat
Sí,
this. So,
no. Entonces va directo porque ya dio
um,
los datos biográficos.
So
Ajá.
I studied graphic design in Bremen. This is a city in the north of Germany, where I could focus after 2 years on photography. Yeah.
Los primeros 2 años se enfocó en la ciudad de Bremen, en fotografía,
Maybe it's
que
better
era,
to
se
switch the
puede
lights.
un poquito apagar la luz o
Wenn sieht man
bajar un
die
poquito la
Bilder
luz para
besser.
que se vea mejor. Que los primeros 2 años hizo sobre todo diseño gráfico, ¿no? Ajá.
I feel a little bit like a president.
Se sienta un poco. Sí, yo creo que sí. Yo voy a ir interpretando, pero yo creo que está muy bien que practiquen su inglés, ¿no? O sea, también.
I feel very honored.
Sí, es un gran honor. Ajá.
Coming from a creative family, we had a lot of art books, and I always was very interested in painting because my mother was a painter, but I thought that I'm not talented enough for painting, and it takes also a very long time. That's why I decided to do photography.
Sí,
I thought it would be much quicker.
Dice, viene de esta familia de gente que está dentro del arte. Su madre fue, como ya escucharon, o ha sido pintora y en su casa había muchos libros de arte, pero él decidió no ir por la fotografía porque sintió que no tenía el talento para eso y que además tomaba más tiempo crear algo y entonces tomó el camino de la fotografía. Ajá.
This was a mistake.
Y quizá eso fue un error.
You always need a lot of time to create something beautiful.
Porque el tiempo es igual si estás haciendo fotografía o pintura. O sea, el tiempo es el tiempo y te va a tomar igual de tiempo hacer foto que pintura, ¿no? Ajá.
But my work was always very influenced by paintings, yeah? Because I couldn't paint, but I wanted at least create something as strong as paintings. So I took all my inspiration from the paintings, or also from the movies, and maybe you can recognize on the left side.
A ver, sí, entonces sí, aunque no, sí,
Yeah?
sí lo pueden seguir o porque va un poco más lento si yo voy interpretando, pero si lo pueden seguir para que vaya más, ¿sí?
Yeah?
Y si tienen preguntas o alguien queda con alguna duda, entonces me dicen,
La
¿ok?
dinámica es la siguiente, va a ir presentando su trabajo y ustedes pueden ir preguntando para que se haga más rica la conversación. Así que con toda confianza levantan la mano para que pueda establecerse un diálogo nuestro invitado y con ustedes.
Okay, so yeah, if you have questions, if I talk too quick and you don't understand, you just raise the hand, that's fine.
¿Y está bien ese micrófono o necesitan el volumen está bien?
Okay, so as I said, I'm very much influenced by the paintings, and I was in a kind of in a dialogue with masterpieces of painting, which I tried to recreate in photography. And maybe you can also recognize who was the inspiration for the image on the left side. It's a question to the students.
¿Lo reconocen?
No? Hmm? No, the painting on the left side, it was influenced by an artist.
A la izquierda tiene una influencia de algún pintor.
It's an exam. So it's Frida Kahlo. You know this painting with the broken collar? Yeah. So, and actually this was...
Donde la columna, ¿sí la ubican?
yeah, sí, sí. And this was actually a Mexican dancer dancing in a piece, a dance piece called Frida Kahlo in Bremen, where I have studied. And so I photographed her.
Sí, vieron que es una bailarina mexicana en la ciudad de Bremen y tenía una obra escenográfica que se llamaba Frida, ¿verdad?
We do it in English, and if they
okay,
have questions,
okay.
they can ask. So, and for example, on the right side, this was influenced by the Hitchcock movie Psycho. So maybe it is easier to see. So like many of you, maybe when you study art and design, you ask yourself, this is fine, but I don't want to starve. So how can I survive? So in Germany, we say there is brotlose Kunst und kunstloses Brot, which means art without bread and bread without art.
Siguieron el punto que dice, o sea, quiero ser artista, pero no me quiero morir de hambre. Entonces voy a ver de qué manera puedo vivir como artista. Y que inclusive en Alemania hay esto de, sí,
Kunst ohne Brot.
es ser Brot ohne Kunst. No. Sí, es,
Brotlose Kunst
sí,
und Kunst ohne Brot.
sí,
Nee, Moment,
es,
und
eso, tener pan, o sea, ser arte y tener pan para comer, ¿no? O tener pan para comer sin arte, ¿verdad?
sí, sí, sí,
¿Ya?
sí. So
Eso hay que comer, pues, ¿no? De la profesión y no siempre es fácil cuando se es artista. Y entonces él dijo, bueno, ¿qué opciones tengo? Ajá.
So I think this is the question which a lot of artists and designers have.
Porque muchas veces como artista...
I thought, so I always wanted to stage, to create images with photography. But at the same time, I was thinking, how can I earn my money? And I thought that maybe the best way would be to combine creativity with earning money by doing fashion photography. Yeah. So I studied in the 90s in Germany, and in this time, fashion was kind of much more free than now. So you could realize your ideas in fashion photography much easier than now. It was less commercial. So now it's much more difficult to create symbolic images in fashion, or images which not only show fashion, but try to tell kind of deeper stories. But nevertheless, I worked in the beginning, so I studied in Bremen, and then I moved to Berlin. Yeah, and before Berlin, I went to Paris because it was always my dream. I read too many books about French artists who are sitting in the cafes and drinking coffee and writing surrealist poetry. So I thought, yes, I need to go to Paris, and but it's not like this now. Paris is very expensive, and the Paris of now, it's Berlin. Now it's also expensive. It became very expensive in the last years. But all the artists, many artists, they live in Berlin, and that's why I also went to Berlin, because I thought it's a good place to do art. And I worked as a fashion and portrait photographer for magazines, because I thought it's a good way to combine creativity with earning money, which was fun for some time, but it was never completely satisfactory for me. Yeah. Because you have always to do compromises with the client. Yeah? And also because the competition in Berlin is very tough. There are like, if you go in a cafe, like to the left side is an artist, to the right side is a photographer, next is the actor. So it's many creative people, not so many jobs. So, but I worked for magazines and I did also advertising and worked with fashion designers. And then at some point, so you see here some examples. I also always love to work with ballet dancers. So here I did portraits of them behind the scenes. And it's also, maybe even it's not visible, it's inspired by paintings by Degas, the French painter, so who also painted a lot of ballerinas. This is how Berlin looked like 20 years ago. So everything was very destroyed and very raw and very kind of wild. Now everything is renovated and expensive, but this was a good time to experiment and to do photographs. This was a shooting for a German fashion magazine. In 2011, I became professor at the university where I teach now, with a small campus, not as big like yours. Not like this. So this was good for earning money, and this also gave me the possibility to do mostly my creative personal projects. So I could do whatever I wanted. And this is also an interesting thing, how you change as a creative personality through the times. So when I was young, I was only interested in photographing people and in staging, and landscape was very boring for me. And when I become elder, suddenly landscape became something interesting. So, and this was one project I did about the forests. So the idea behind it is, in Europe we have a very protective, attitude toward forests, because forests are disappearing, and people are afraid even to break a branch. Yeah. But the forests, for the majority of the time, were a very dangerous place. You know, there were witches and criminals and ghosts and evil spirits. And I wanted to photograph the forest in the way how people experienced it for the majority of the human history. Yeah. So at first I went there at night, but then it didn't work out. And then I just did a simple trick. So who is studying photography?
Fotografía.
Yeah, what is the simple trick I did?
¿Qué truco hizo para sacar en la noche la foto así?
This didn't work out. I tried flash, but this didn't work out. Okay, failed. Test, exam. Next. Yes, passed.
Ya pasó.
So yeah, it was very simple. So I photographed this with a large format camera, and it was very simple. But I wanted to have this expression of not knowing: is it a day or is it a night? Is it a dream or is it a horror movie? So that's why I photographed it like this. So it looks all very wild, but actually it was very difficult to find this kind of places in Germany, because in Germany everything is straight and linear and organized. Even the forests are very organized. So it was difficult to find this. Another series I did in the landscape was Limbo. It was actually so I was asking myself, so what happens if you die? Yeah, where does your soul go? And I thought maybe it looks something like the moon or something like the desert. So then we die, we fly, and then we go into the light, something like this. And so I went to Morocco, and I traveled in the desert with a donkey and a guide. And yes.
¿Sí escucharon eso?
Burro, sí, sí. So for several days, and so we slept under the sky, and we ate under the sky, and I photographed at full moon, yeah, the landscapes. So I wanted to have this impression like it's maybe on the moon or something like this. And for me, it was a very intense experience because I realized this is how it had something archetypal, like the biblical, Moses going through the desert. So it felt very deep, just being all the time in the nature and walking every day. So I felt like it's not, it was in 2012, I felt it's like year zero something, 2000 years ago. And then, so some works here are chronological, some are mixed together. So another important topic of my artistic research is the question, what do the women want from us? Understanding women, understanding eroticism, how can we create images which are at the same time maybe erotic, but also with some surrealist twist, yeah? And also at the same time, so I don't have any training in painting and drawing, but I was always very inspired by outsider artists. Art Brut and outsider artists, or the artists who had never any education and who they were often mentally sick and ill and lived in asylums. And they didn't know how to draw, but still they created very beautiful artworks. So I thought if they can do it, I can do it also. Even if I cannot paint, I'm still going to do this. This is how I started to make drawings. And on the left side, this is also, it's a little bit difficult to see here on the screen, but it's drawn on pages from a book of mathematics, yeah? And I hated mathematics. And this is my revenge. So I found an old book of mathematics on the flea market, and I painted my drawings. So here you can see, so the photographs and the drawings appeared at the same time, but they kind of completely independent. So, but after many years looking at them, I see that there is still a connection. There's still a kind of a search for the mystery of eroticism, or, and how can we maybe express it in a more surreal way, where it's not only about the beauty of the naked body, but maybe it's possible to express it in a different way, in a more complex or in more ironic or surreal way. Yeah. And this is my philosophy. So I think that so in Germany, so I live in Germany and I like Germany, but in the art there is always a very big emphasis on theory and concepts. Yeah. So, or it was at least like this in the 90s and 2000 years. And if something is just beautiful, it's not good enough. So this was like very common attitude in the German art world. Yeah, it always needs to have some kind of intellectual concept. If there is no intellectual concept behind it, it's not good enough. So, and for me, I feel that if something is just beautiful, this is concept enough, yeah? Because this is how you express the world. And of course, there is always the difficulty if something is only beautiful, it can also become very kitsch. Kitsch? Yeah, kitsch. So it's a very thin line between beauty and kitsch. So usually, I think real beauty needs to have also something of the reality of the life, because life is tough. And so if you can combine somehow this, we can create maybe something good. So I like also to change the techniques. So I get kind of quick bored with do this all the time, the same thing. And then Corona happened, which for me was amazing.
Corona is COVID.
Ah,
¿no?
COVID, COVID. Not the beer Corona. No.
In Spanish.
Yeah? Yeah, yeah. So no, COVID, no, I'm not alcoholic, no. So the COVID happened, but for me it was a very good time because I could focus on the work and I did a lot of collages. And collages, it was a new technique for me, but it's a very good exercise for all creative people because you don't need to know how to photograph, you don't need to know how to draw, you just need scissors and glue and you can create something beautiful. And so it was a very productive time where I just was playing around. And another good thing about the collages, so when I was younger, I was very often stuck. You know how to call it, this artist block, yeah? You don't know what to do, I have no inspiration. But when I got older, I realized that inspiration is overemphasized. You don't need inspiration. You just need to just sit down and do your work, and then inspiration will come in the process. So now I just don't wait for inspiration, and also tell to my students, just don't wait for inspiration. Just sit down, start work. Yeah, like discipline.
Inspiration arrives alone.
It comes from alone, yeah. And so in my collages and also generally in my work, I'm very much interested in the spirituality. So here in Mexico, it's the paradise for spirituality. Germany is a desert for spirituality. It's a paradise for rationality. But I'm very interested in different cultures and the different influences from popular art, from spiritual art. So this is where I take all the inspiration. And I also show to my students, I don't know if you know this video by Austin Kleon, Still Like an Artist. Did you hear about this?
¿Conocen ese? No, quizá tiene otro título en español. Vielleicht hat andere Titel.
Okay.
Das Ende.
Still Like an Artist, how do you say in español?
Also,
Still Like an Artist?
ja, aber still, nicht sie bewegen? Oder
Still,
ja.
stellen.
Ah, okay.
How do you say in English?
Es de hierro. Ajá. No, aber stillen? Nein, del Material.
Nein, stellen.
Ja,
Stellen.
ja, also robar, sí.
Yeah.
Ajá.
Yeah,
Sí,
see.
robar,
So I always show this video to my students, and I say to them they can forget everything, but not this video, because so this Austin Klein, this is a journalist who explains how creativity emerges. So it's always if you take something from others and transform it. So you don't need to be shy to steal from other artists, yeah? But don't steal from the same artist all the time, because then it's plagiarism. So you need to take it from different. So, and as you can maybe see in the images, so I take the influences from all kinds of cultures, religions, spiritual traditions, and at the end it looks like my style, but basically the inspiration comes from everywhere. So Another series I did, it's about the femininity archetypes, like which we find in mythology, in fairy tales, in religion, which are ingrained in, as archetypes in our soul. Yeah, and so and I thought, how can I picture these archetypes? These femininity archetypes, how can I picture them as images, as photographs? So for example, this is called Eva? Eva, Paradiso, Eva, Adam, yeah. And they are naked because I didn't know if these are kind of soul archetypes or cultural archetypes. I also didn't know what kind of clothing are they supposed to wear. So that's why I thought maybe it's better if they're naked, like an expression of the nature, yeah, like a nature force. So they all represent different features, like the witches, the brujos, from different cultures. And again, I went outside of Berlin to find unorganized nature, which was difficult, but I managed it. And again, so it was finding Amazon. So how does the Amazon might look like? So these are like expressions of female spirits, ghosts, witches, which are born by the nature. Yeah. So actually, I'm always interested to show what's behind the visual reality. So this is my biggest motivation, even if it's very difficult to how you can express it if it's not visible. But we have this very rich history of spiritual culture and religious images, folklore, traditional images. So I thought maybe there is a way. And this work is about plant devas, so in anthroposophy, but also in many cultures. People believed that behind every plant there is a spirit, yeah, like a spirit guardian of this plant. Here the corn was worshipped, yeah, by the Aztecs and Mayas, and I did a series of collages where I tried to kind of find an expression for this plant spirits, however they might look. Yeah. So I destroyed one book of very beautiful book about plants, but then I created something new. Yeah. So this is was also a collage series I did during the later period of COVID. And now I'm working, not now, but it started already longer before. I'm working on the, how do you call it? So I'm very influenced also by shamanism, yeah? Also by the shamanism coming from Latin America, like from indigenous traditions, which you have shamanic traditions with sacred plants. I guess you know what it is. I don't need to explain. So here it's a kind of embedded in the culture. Yeah. So you have a lot of places where you can go to and do it. And I was also interested in demons and in the devil. Yeah. So when I was a student, one time I realized I had like, I think, 19 images of the devil in my little student room. So which was really a surprise. I didn't know that there were so many of them. Yeah, so I have a kind of a close connections to, I don't know, demons or evil forces. And
That's okay.
And here you see a combination of drawings, and also I did a work about, there is a traditional folk festival in Bulgaria, which is called Kukuri. This is always in the winter, in January or February, and people are disguised then with these costumes, I think that there is also a tradition here like this. And they run around with torches, with fires, and with bells, and they're chasing away the evil. They go from house to house and chasing away the evil. So I went for 3 winters to Bulgaria to photograph these people, to find them. Here you see some other images of the evil forces, which are everywhere. Yeah, and it was also a very interesting experience because so the masks and costumes are created by people who live in the villages, who has also no art education. But in my opinion, they create very beautiful artistic objects. Yeah. So this is a proof for me that everybody can create something beautiful, even if you don't have any art education. And so it was a little bit complicated with them because they didn't speak English. I speak Russian, but Bulgarian and Russian is like 10% similar. So it was very difficult to organize this, but it was very so I discovered these costumes when I was looking for inspiration for my drawings. And then I thought, wow, they look so amazing. And that's why I decided, why don't you photograph them? Yeah? That's why I went to Bulgaria to photograph them. And these are also very heavy costumes. They weigh up to 40 kilos. And they 40 kilos, yeah. And they have also very big bells. And then also dance and run with it. So this is, you need to be very strong. Yeah. Yeah, so they're very beautiful. They look all like they are all the time on psychedelics, but they just drink beer and alcohol. But it just comes from the nature. So they say that it's all the ideas come from the nature. And in every village, they look completely different. So for me, it was very inspiring. And I especially like the man on the left. So because it was also very powerful man in real life. And yeah, I like it. So in Bulgaria, yeah. So, actually, and thank you very much. So, who did this poster for me? It was...
¿Quién creó el póster? Porque quiere dar las gracias por haber creado los carteles.
It was super beautiful. Thank you so
Sí,
much.
que
Yeah.
muchas gracias. Sí.
Yeah, I like very much the poster. It's really good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so to me they look like mysterious figures coming from the woods, like the spirits of the woods, the spirits of the nature, the spirits which come. So usually these festivities are everywhere in the world in the winter. I think here also in the winter.
Well,
No? Okay, but in Europe it's usually in January and February when it's dark, when there is no sun.
yeah,
And-
here's November.
Yeah, and the frontier between the visible world and the invisible world becomes a little bit thinner. Yeah, in the winter when there's a lot of darkness, then you see evil spirits everywhere. So, and as I said, I like also to start every time something new. And last year I started to do liner cuts and woodcut prints and wood sculptures. Also based on mythology and on spiritual images. And I've seen also here your facilities, your studios, so this is really amazing. So these big machines and the big studios, this is really something unique. And again, I'm autodidact, I don't know how to do it, so, but I said, if the villagers can do it, I can do it also. So I started also to, so this is masks made by me out of wood. And on the left side, you see a woodcut. Actually, another thing, I'm also very influenced by the tarot cards. Tarot. Yeah, so because there is a very, they all have a very deep symbolic archetypal meaning. And I also even give an exercise for my photography students. They have to take a card and then they need to interpret it as a photograph. Yeah. So, yeah. Another sculpture made out of wood, which is called Little Spirit. So the title is actually also important, maybe a little bit difficult to see from there. So it's Little Spirit. On the right side, it's Clown. Mother Ayahuasca. On the right side, this is the god of the spring. And Angel of Fire. So you can see maybe on the right side, so there is also some influence from Mexican culture, a little bit. So I'm here for a month. I'm going, after 1 week here in Mexico City, I'm going to travel to Oaxaca and to Chiapas and Yucatan, and I'm looking forward to see all this amazing art, because I've never been to Mexico, I've never been to Latin America, and it's really something super inspiring for me. And I love that you have, how they call them, shamans, and you can go to every market, and then you can go to Olympia.
Ayer estuvo en el mercado, aquí en el centro de la alcaldía,
Yeah.
pues estuvo fascinado con los colores, los olores.
Y los chamanes.
Sí, sí. I love very much the popular Mexican culture, the colors and the shapes and the intensity of the. Yeah, it's very intense. Yeah, it's very intense. So these are the last images. Huh?
Shall we ask them questions or comments?
Yeah, no, I don't ask them questions. They can ask me questions.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Ahora es el turno de ustedes de participar. Si lo quieren hacer en español y acá lo traduzco al inglés. Quien quiera preguntar en inglés también, por favor, de cualquier cuestión que les interese. Y si no, podemos empezar acá, pero lo interesante es que pues hagamos aquí algo muy dinámico, ¿no? Y
Adelante,
si no,
jóvenes, adelante.
ahí va la
allá.
primera. Ajá. Es que está ronca, por eso. Sí,
Do you have
throat.
any? ¿Tiene algún libro? Pero es que no tengo voz, perdón. Do you have any book? Do you have any available book?
Yeah, he has printed, I mean, he has published. Tiene
Ajá,
ha publicado 9 libros, pero ahora, como vino solo con una maleta pequeña, no trajo libros, que hubieran querido comprar libros tuyos.
But in Amazon?
En Amazon se pueden comprar.
I have some books, but I'm traveling with only with cabin luggage. Yeah? So but I will send
Sí.
some catalogs, and when I come back in 1 month, I can send it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question about the shamanism series. I'm interested in this topic, but I want to know how is the relation with these people, because it's a delicate topic, I think.
It's what?
Delicate
topic.
Delicate topic, the traditions and all this, because some people say that for this topic or photos, the photographer need to have a relation with the people, not just take the photos. So I want to know how's your relation with these people and why you are interested in.
You mean specifically this series?
Yeah.
The relation was good. No, so Bulgarians are very proud people, and they also they do these festivals in their village, and then there are more international festivals where they go with these costumes, and they're very proud of it, and they like to show it, and they're also happy if they get beautiful pictures. So I sent to all of them the pictures, which they can use for their social media or whatever. Because usually they photograph their costumes by themselves, but it doesn't look as good as my photographs. so usually it was no problem. The only problem was the communication. I only had once to pay something, but normally they did it all for free, and even this is a lot of how to say, this is a lot of work for them. So for example, these costumes are huge. So half of the village would come and they would load them on a truck and they just would go somewhere in the nature, I wouldn't know where. And they would unload it and they would have like 5 minutes for every costume because they're very heavy. So you need to be very quick to do it. And these people, so they are not shamans. I mean, they just follow their tradition. Because, for example, Bulgaria was occupied by Turkey for 500 years, Ottoman Empire, and only in the end of the 19th century, they become independent. And so that's why it's very important for them to keep this tradition and to do these festivals every year. And even if they live in other countries, because many of them work in Germany, in Switzerland, in France, they all come back to their villages to do these festivals. So I think your question is more directed in the direction appropriation, right?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
It's actually this problem, and I'm going to say this in English now. No, because then he was going to miss that out. I've been trying to get context for him here with shamans, and it's very difficult. I have the same problem that you just described, no? That people here who are shamans or professional shamans or real shamans, they don't like just to show what they can do or how they work. If they don't have a relationship, a personal or a deep relationship with the photographer. But this is what I told you, no, with these people, and because that was his question directed in that sense, no. If you do have that problem with other shamans, because he has had contact with shamans, Brazilian shamans in Berlin, no. But when I asked here, it was difficult, no. I don't know. This is the way your question was, because it's difficult.
Okay, so they are not shamans, they're just villagers. So I have good relationship with them. And so in Berlin is a kind of El Dorado for shamanic traditions from the Americas. Because a lot of shamans are coming to Berlin where they do their retreats or ceremonies with ayahuasca, mushrooms, San Pedro, peyote. So you can get, I mean, in Germany it's illegal, but still, especially Berlin, you can almost every week go to real indigenous shamans coming really from Amazonas, who are not, who are really serious to it. And so I'm also very lucky to live in Berlin and to have this possibility. So I discovered this 6 years ago. Before that, I never did anything like this, only alcohol, nothing else. And now the people in the West are discovering these traditions because it's a powerful technique to transform your life, to open yourself, to solve your problems. Yeah.
Well, you have worked with erotism, and I have a really precise question. Did you learn something about it? Did you found the answer to what erotism means to you, or what's your perspective about all that work around erotism?
I hope so. But I cannot put it in a formula. Like this is do this and this equals eroticism. No, yeah. So obviously, I find an answer because at the moment it's not. I'm more interested in different things. So maybe because I got older, I don't know. So now I'm more interested in the spirituality and demons and shamans and. But you always find an answer with your art you're doing, with your creative results. So the answers are the images. Yeah, that's why you do it. You cannot verbalize it very often. Yeah, because otherwise you would be a writer or philosopher or a theoretician. But as an artist, you find your answers by doing this art. This is the answer. So, but I have no formula. Okay.
Hi. A little while ago, you said something about beauty. You said that it wins over concept.
Yes, always.
Um, what's your idea of beauty? What makes you think that?
Yeah, this is a good question. Again, the answer is in my images. Beauty, it's an expression of harmony in nature and in combination. Yeah, it's harmony together with nature, I would say, and the acceptance of the forces of nature or the. Again, I have no formula. So the answer is in the images. Beauty, I mean, beauty is a very dangerous topic because it can become very kitsch and if there is too much beauty, it can become too sweet and too kitsch. And there is the Czech writer Milan Kundera who gave a very beautiful definition of kitsch. Kitsch is the denial of shit. You know, I mean, you have always like a mixture of beauty and shit. Yeah? And if you just leave out the shit part of the life, then it becomes kitsch. So, yeah, but in general, it's a kind of, so we can talk about beauty in terms of composition and light, like all this, what you study here. Yeah, is everything in kind of a harmonious place, but it still can be dead. If it can be superficially beautiful, but it can still miss a kind of a deeper truth. Maybe it's also something in combination with deep understanding of life. I don't know. So that's why I'm kind of looking for it in my works to understand what I'm doing. But I have difficulties with, let's say, only like the pure conceptual art, where you need to read 2 pages in order to understand what's the image about. Yeah, because this is the medium of art is central medium. So even if you don't understand the concept, it's somehow you should. This is my personal opinion. So everybody is free to do as they like. But I think it should somehow grasp your senses, yeah? So, and then if you have also an interesting concept, and this is great, but usually if I walk through galleries and museums, and if it doesn't catch my senses, then I also don't read the text, yeah? Because I'm lazy, so, yeah.
Thank you.
tenemos algunos maestros del área de fotografía, al maestro Eloy Valtierra, al maestro Víctor, que está allá presente, y me gustaría que nos compartiera cómo es el plan de estudios en la maestría en fotografía artística, para que ustedes tengan esa posibilidad de estudiar en la universidad que él, bueno, la maestría que él dirige, y también compartir a los colegas cómo está estructurado el programa. Creo que sería de mucho beneficio para todos los presentes si nos pudiera compartir.
What is the structure of a master program? Okay. So in master program, we have technical parts where you need to understand, for example, how to work with light in the studio. Because, for example, so we don't separate between commercial photography and artistic photography. We give opportunity for everybody to discover their talents and their interests. For example, the technical part, they need to learn how to work with artificial light in the studio. This is very important for commercial photography. Light, you have very few chances to get commercial jobs. Then we have also darkroom, where we do mostly experimental darkroom techniques like cyanotypes, photograms, and other techniques. And we have also theory, history of photography, and culture studies, kind of comparative cultures. And so the studies are mostly based on practical assignments, yeah. And the goal is that the students, so usually, so in master, so I'm teaching in a private university, yeah? So we cost a lot of money, but are very small. We have, in master program, we have also students who didn't do photography before. So we have professional photographers who study master photography, but we have also, like the levels are very different. But the main goal of the studies is that at the end of the studies, you need to find out what's your talent and what do you want to do? Because many people who study photography, they still kind of are looking and don't know exactly what do they want in photography. So basically, it's a lot about, it's kind of a therapy. It's a lot about understanding who you are, what do you want, or how can you express your ideas and your feelings with images. So, but it's also kind of a very free. So we give assignments, but the students are free to interpret them in the way they want to interpret them. And at the end of the studies, they also need to write a paper, academic paper, and do a practical work. We have also visual storytelling. We have also performativity, which is about how can so a lot in photography, especially in staged photography, it's if you're dealing with people, if you're photographing people, people have bodies and they express their feelings with bodies. So if you want to do good fashion photography, maybe you need to understand what every body posture mean and how can you express your feelings with your body. And of course, we talk a lot about different artists and their concepts, and yeah. So I mean, this is basically the main things. So,
buenos días. ¿Hay proyectos que realizan los estudiantes al final de sus estudios?
Yes. It's all about photographic results. I mean, they need also to be able to explain it and to write artist statements. But at the end, so this is not a theory study program. It's a practical study program where they need to find their way in the photography. Yeah. But we have also theory classes where they actually need to learn how to express the ideas in a written form. Yeah.
¿Alguien más tiene algún comentario, alguna pregunta? Adelante, con toda confianza. Puede ser en español.
¿Pueden ver la diferencia entre cómo está aquí estructurado? Que yo soy, bueno, es que a mí me parece muy interesante que cómo trabajamos en la UNAM. O sea, tengo el doctorado en literatura y doy clases en la Facultad de Filosofía y Letras y en la ENAD. Y allá todo está muy, o sea, los programas son muy rígidos y hay que hacer las cosas aquí. No sé cómo funciona acá, si es lo mismo, rígidos en el sentido de la estructura justo, ¿no? Porque lo que yo he escuchado de lo que dice Andrej, sí tienen la estructura, pero hay más flexibilidad. Y no sé aquí, I'm just contrast, because usually here we just have to follow specific programs. I mean, we all contribute as academics for designing the programs, but I just notice a contrast in what you just said. It's more kind of flexible in a sense. No sé si quieran compartir eso.
And actually, I just wanted to add something. So the photography world is now changing also because of the AI. And I guess everybody is very afraid of AI. And so now we're changing our curriculum. So from the following upcoming summer semester, we will teach them also AI. And I think also for photographers, videography is also very important. So that I don't know if you have here this also in the photography program, but if I talk to the successful alumni, they all do a mixture of videos and photography. So this is very important yeah, so if you have clients, they usually, so you have a camera, the camera can do photographs and videos, so go and do photographs and videos. So this is the attitude of the clients quite often. So nowadays you need to be able also to do some kind of also videos. And yeah, but the whole field is changing and nobody knows what professions will be needed in 10 years. But anyway, I guess if you have chosen art and design, you didn't choose it because you want to become a millionaire, yeah? So you've chosen because this is your passion, and then you should follow your passion, and then at some point you will find a way how you can live your passion, yeah? So, no.
¿Algún otro comentario o pregunta? ¿No?
Hi, so I have a question about your work. You incorporate a lot of nature into your work, and I wanted to ask, what's your favorite natural element to photograph or to draw or to make a print out of?
Well, I love deserts, but we don't have deserts in Germany. I love most deserts, like mountain deserts, yeah. Like the places I've been in Morocco, yeah. Here I'm also going to the south, so there are not so many deserts. I was also a little bit afraid to go to the north. We hear so many stories. So I thought maybe it's better I go to the south of Mexico now. Yeah. So yeah, the desert is the desert because it strips you away of everything which is not important. Yeah. So there is nothing to hold on. So you have the sky and you have the earth, and it's very kind of archaic feeling if you're in a desert. You feel like yeah, very small and very close to the sky, to the stars, etc. Yeah.
¿Alguien más tiene algún comentario, alguna pregunta? Adelante.
¿Puedo yo preguntar una pregunta? Es que trabajamos, yo conozco a Andrej también porque trabajo con otro fotógrafo en Alemania, con Matías, que es colega de Andrej, y los dos hacen algo que se llama stage photography, que también, no sé si ustedes hacen aquí, que es fotografía, no es fotografía escénica en el teatro, sino es fotografía que cuenta historias, ¿no? Entonces quería preguntar si ustedes aquí desarrollan también eso. O sea, si trabajan creando escenas y como algunas de las que nos mostró acá, o sea, que cuentan, pero no solo una historia de que, me lo imagino, sino que, o sea, trabajan con gente y crean una historia. Du machst das auch, sin ir en fotografía, ¿verdad? Ja. Y also das ist meine Frage, ob Sie das auch hier machen. ¿Lo hacen aquí ustedes también?
Me gustaría que el maestro Víctor Monroy nos compartiera algo de cómo desarrolla su trabajo. ¿En español? No.
Sí, lo voy a decir en español porque es mi lengua materna y me permite expresarme mejor. Sí. Sí, definitivamente. Y obviamente somos una escuela de arte. Somos una escuela de arte, llevamos una licenciatura, pero no de foto. Llevamos una licenciatura en artes visuales. Los alumnos tienen acceso a talleres de estampa, ¿sí? a talleres de performance, a talleres de pintura, a talleres de escultura. La idea es tener un artista más completo. En el área de fotografía no es prácticamente una especialidad, sino es aprender fotografía en el contexto de las artes visuales. Sí construimos escenarios, sí aprendemos iluminación, sí aprendemos composición, sí aprendemos historia del arte, historia de la fotografía. Obviamente no hacemos a un lado nuestro bagaje cultural. Lo que él llama chamán, que es un concepto centroeuropeo, aquí en México son brujos. ¿Sí? En México trabajamos el concepto de brujo. Tiene muchas semejanzas, El conjunto de culturas que se han desarrollado en México son vivas todavía y tenemos un conjunto de personajes que todavía organizan ritos. ¿Sí? Las danzas tradicionales en este país, los vestuarios tradicionales en este país siguen estando vigentes. Necesariamente nutren el bagaje de nuestros estudiantes, pero no podemos negar la influencia de los Estados Unidos. ¿Sí? Aquí es muy importante cómo la manera de entender la fotografía del norte de América influye terriblemente a nuestros alumnos y a nuestros fotógrafos. ¿Sí? A pesar de que históricamente la fotografía llegó de mano de los franceses a México. Hay una visión, obviamente en la escuela la compartimos con la licenciatura en diseño, que es fotografía aplicada y fotografía en artes visuales. Compartimos obviamente las mismas herramientas, los mismos materiales, pero las visiones son diferentes. Hace rato que platicaba, el asunto, me bullía la pregunta en la cabeza, si él como artista, cuando acude a estos rituales, a través de lo fotográfico, hace pases chamánicos o solo documenta los momentos. ¿Sí? Sí.
The way you approach shamanism is probably different the way we approach it, ¿no? because you actually feel yourself part of the ritual of shamans, or you just are kind of an outsider, and then you take the pictures or make the drawings, ¿no? Que si es parte de, se siente parte de los rituales, o como fotógrafo tiene la distancia, ¿no? It's different, ¿no? Puede ser, ¿no? Es alguna pregunta que también, yo también la tenía. Yeah,
Answer? Okay. Okay. When I photograph these Bulgarian traditions, of course, I'm an outsider. And when I visited shamanic ceremonies from Amazon in Berlin, I didn't photograph there. I was just under influence of the plant spirits.
Pero cuando ha acudido a las ceremonias, los rituales de los chamanes del Amazonas en Berlín, está en ese ambiente del efecto de todo, del escenario y de las plantas, de lo que consuman o que sea. Ajá.
The dealing with the ceremonies and what I have seen in the ceremonies, the visions, so they very much influence also my art. So it kind of opened my mind, and that what we see, it's not everything. It's not the complete reality. So the shamanic practices, which existed also in Europe, but the church destroyed everything during the Inquisition. So
cuando ha sido parte, como dije, sí, de estas ceremonias, cuando está ahí, pero porque también existe chamanismo o esta brujería, también ha existido en Europa, pero con la Iglesia y la Inquisición, pues eso digamos, se transformó, ¿no? Y entonces es esta otra vivencia, ¿no?
So my goal is to kind of be, how to say, transparent to the both worlds, so that they can kind of, so I would like to have all these shamanic experiences without going to shamans, like here and now, so that I could see what's behind this. So
porque algo que no dije hace rato es que a través de estas experiencias con los chamanes ha podido, o sea, ve otras cosas, ¿sí? Otra realidad, ¿no? Pero entonces también dice que quizás su objetivo sea no nada más con los chamanes, sino estando aquí con ustedes, o sea, con nosotros, también ver otras realidades, ¿no? Y otros registros, ¿no? de lo que se puede ver, ¿no? Y no nada más con los chamanes.
So in Germany and in Europe and in general in the Western societies, it's all about rational mind and efficiencies. So it's all about it's very one-dimensional understanding of the world. Yeah, it's all about rationalism and logic and efficiency, productivity. And I think that now it's slowly changing, and that the shamanic traditions, which the indigenous people of the Americas kept alive, it's also helping to transform the mind also in the West. But it's like a very small movement which is starting to grow. But here it's a part of the culture. So here it's much more integrated. Yeah.
Sí quedó claro eso, que allá es lo racional, es la lógica en general, ¿no? Ha sido la norma muchos siglos ya, pero está cambiando también porque toda la población de la América, ¿no? Los originarios de América, ¿no? cómo han preservado eso y que es parte de nosotros, porque nosotros lo vivimos todos los días, ¿no? Entonces, que poco a poco allá también se está recuperando ese interés o ese tipo de vivencias.
Bueno, finalmente, sí hay un renacer en Europa, porque es común que fotógrafos documenten a los chamanes. Tenemos una cauda de fotógrafos donde hay un montón de fotografías de grupos chamánicos. Bueno, y no nada más en la fotografía, en la música, en las diferentes manifestaciones artísticas, hay un regresar, hay un recuperar una historia que los europeos tienen. ¿Sí? Nosotros en América la seguimos teniendo, la vivimos diariamente. ¿Sí? Y la pregunta final que le haría es, ¿el artista es un chamán?
The artist is a shaman, he says.
The artist is a shaman.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good artist is a shaman.
Un buen artista, sí, es un chamán. Ajá.
Sí.
Sí.
Yes, so it's basically coming back to nature, coming back to spirituality, coming back to harmony, living in harmony with nature. And it's slow process. I'm not sure I could talk publicly in Germany about these topics, because there they would, so there are people who are kind of accepting, let's say, these realities or these approaches, but the majority of people would say he's a kind of a hippie or esoteric, or, I mean, yeah, just, they wouldn't take it serious. It's changing now, but many people, they're still very much in this very straight, logical, rational mind.
Sí, que en Alemania es difícil hablar de esto en público porque muchos lo van a tirar de hippie, ¿no? Y de que bueno, no es serio, no es alguien que está trabajando las cosas en serio, porque necesitan esa cuestión racional y lógica. Y aunque está entrando, y por eso quizá también entre los artistas es como, digamos, moda, pero es porque están descubriendo esa vertiente. Pero en general, muchas personas van a pensar que, pues sí, es marginal. O sea, todavía es algo marginal.
Gracias.
Bueno, entonces terminamos la sesión. Agradecerles a todos los presentes que pues hayan asistido y que puedan pues compartir sus comentarios, sus dudas con nuestro invitado. A continuación pues vamos a bajar a ver una exhibición de escultura y el maestro Bactol va a ser el guía, así que todo este grupo está invitado a ver una excelente exhibición escultórica en donde va más allá de la escultura tradicional, sino que hay una diversidad de expresiones y materiales que se están utilizando actualmente. Así que nuestro invitado pues estará muy emocionado de conocer algo del trabajo creativo que se desarrolla en nuestra facultad. Pues muchas gracias, doctor Horacio Castrejón, por la visita guiada, ha sido muy productiva. Los maestros que están aquí presentes, Andrej, thanks a lot for your visit.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and for this very warm welcome and for your attention. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.